Okay, unfortunate with the critter in the tank, but I'll drop that tank on the car and take the cap off. Maybe the sending unit will have some decent resistance range on it, get it cleaned up and stuff. So in the meantime, we'll work on this. This is out of page 98 and 99 from the Willys engine book. Yeah, this the Kaiser Darrin's got a 54 F-head Willys straight six in it. So it's got nice carburetor disassembly. This has got a Carter carburetor. So we're just going to work our way through this piece by piece and get this thing taken apart. You can see it looks kind of rough right now, but we'll get started. First thing we got to do is take this rod off. There's a little tiny keeper spring here and this spring here, so we'll pop those off. Next thing is to get the air horn off. So we got to take all these screws around here off and get the choke clamp assembly off. So a little bit out of sequence. I noticed yesterday when I was recording I was pushing the stop when I thought I was hitting the start. So I'm going to pick up from number 4 in here. Remove the pump disc retaining ring number 45 and the disc number 44. So that's on the top of this spring. This guy sets in here like this. That needle goes down there, but this spring has this little clip on the top of it, so you push it down and shove it over, you can get this spring off. So that's number 4. Next, number 5, remove the throttle shaft arm assembly, number 27 and 28. So that's these two guys. Loosen the screw. This guy's on the back side, this little arm piece. So you just loosen that screw, slide him off, and pull that arm off. Number 6, diaphragm housing screws, and lift out the entire pump and metering rod assembly. So there's 4 screws down on this guy, and a metering rod assembly sets down in this hole over here off to the side on that spring. So you lift him off, take those 4 screws out, and then pull that out, and you can pull the pump assembly out. number 7, you take those screws, lift that whole assembly out. And in number 8, remove diaphragm spring retainer 18, 19, and 22. So what that's talking about is on this piece, this spring is clipped on there. So you pull that spring out, you can pull this off, and then you can get the diaphragm out of there. The metering rod jet number 46 is this guy down in this hole right there. Number 11, remove low speed jet. Okay, in there, little tiny hole. Number 12, remove body flange attaching screws. Number 29, number 23 in the gasket. So this is the body attaching screws. There's a couple from the top and one from the bottom. You take those out, you can separate that, take the gasket out. Number 13, remove an idle adjustment screw and spring and the idle port rivet plug. So here's the idle screw and spring, and then the rivet plug is in this hole right here. Had to tap that out nice and easy, but it comes out, so you can clean those holes out. Next item in 13 was the throttle lever assembly, washer and fast idle arm, and the throttle shaft. So these are all on this side. Loosen the screw up here, slide these guys off, and then I did not want to take the shaft out because I can clean it without taking it out. And then the last step on number 13 was remove throttle shaft seal by prying out a seal retainer, and I didn't see any seal or retainer on there, so I ignored that one. Number 14, remove a float pin, the float, and the needle seat assembly. So those are all right here. Pull the pin and you can lift the float out, and the needle is there. Then you take a large screwdriver and take the seat out, little gasket on there. The last one here is remove the choke valve screws, choke valve, unhook the spring, and slide the shaft out. Okay, and what we got left is the choke valve assembly. You see there's a spring. This piece is kind of smashed on there, and the rod goes through and fits on this side, but you can see the choke assembly is really frozen up, so I got to get that loosened because we have to rotate the choke assembly to get those screws off so we can slide this shaft out of here. So I've got to be able to loosen that up. I've sprayed some penetrating oil on here. Just gently clamp this in the vise here and see if I can grab the valve and slowly rotate it. Yep, starting to finally turn. Boy, that thing's tight, so good thing we're getting this apart and cleaning it. I'm just going to get it over here enough for now so I can get those screws off. We'll get those two little screws off so we can pull that shaft out of there. Okay, finally got the screws off that choke shaft. That took a lot of penetrating oil, slow back and forth, and finally worked those little guys out of there. Now we gotta slide this shaft out of here. Okay, we slid that shaft out of there. There's a little keeper ring on there to get this guy to come off. And of course I had to detach that spring right there to slide that choke shaft out of there. It was hooked on there. So you have to unhook that, so it doesn't bend this spring. And we'll get this ring off of here. Okay, as I read the instructions further, I mean, there's nothing wrong with any of these parts. We'll just clean them up. So when we clean this whole assembly, I'm just going to leave this on. No sense in prying that off and cleaning it. I mean, we can just leave it on there and clean it. So I think we're done with carburetor disassembly. There is one thing I'll come back to on this. When it says remove the pump disc ring number 44 and 45, we did remove the pump disc ring, which was basically the retainer and spring on the top of that pump. But number 44 and number 45 are actually on the drawing. You can see them here, so these instructions aren't exactly good, but number 44 and number 45 are actually a check valve and retaining ring. And these guys are super small parts here. You can see here's the retaining ring, ball valve, and check, and they come out of this hole right here. So that sets down in there, and I'll clean this up a little more, but then that retaining ring sets in the top, and you just use a small pair of pliers and grab that little or vertical piece there and just give it a little turn. That spring pops out and the check ball and the seat come out of there. So it's not in the instructions anywhere, but that's number 44 and number 45. It's got to come out of that hole right there. Okay, and then this carburetor kit that was supposed to work for this car is definitely not even close to the gaskets we see back there, and none of the parts in here are recognizable. So we can at least clean all this stuff, but we're not going to be able to put it back together until I get the right carburetor kit back. So I got this ultrasonic cleaner at Harbor Freight. They had a small plastic one, it wasn't quite big enough, so go bigger. That's the way it is. It's a 6 liter. This is 2 liters of simple green. I already poured that in there, and you're supposed to fill this 2/3, so that'd be 4 liters of fluid. So on the simple green, it talks about, heavy duty cleaning, full strength is 1:1. So 2 liters of simple green, 2 liters of water. I'll put that in here, and then that'll take that up to the max mark. And the instructions for this ultrasonic cleaner say you shouldn't put more than 1 part in at a time. They can bang into each other and cause damage to one another. So yeah, that takes that right up to the max fill line on the unit. So we're going to put one of these guys in there, and we'll give this guy a test and see how this works. I've always used the harsh chemicals. I heard that ultrasonic and these cleaners work pretty good. So I'm gonna take this up to this must be Celsius or something like that, and we'll put it on 15 minutes. Hissing sound. So come back in 15 minutes, see what this looks like. Okay, moment of truth after 15 minutes. Let's see what we got here. Looking a lot better. We'll I think put it in for another 15 and see how it does. Okay, here's the second cycle. Oh wow. Yeah, looking like a new part now. Alright. I'm liking it. That did a really nice job. Congratulations, Harbor Freight, on a good unit there. Wow. Okay, we'll let that one dry, and I'll let the unit take a breather for a few minutes. We'll get that one warming up in there. It says if you run a couple cycles to let it set for 15 minutes or so before you run the next set. So we'll just give it a rest and come back and hit it again. I'll keep working through these parts. Okay, got the three main body parts anyways clean. Turned out pretty good. I like the way that thing's working. And then tomorrow I'll start to clean up some of the parts in these trays.